everybody, it's been 8 weeks and it's time for an update. My name is Ann and I'm seeking wellness. Welcome to the channel. Here we go, 8 weeks. Where did I leave you last? Was that I was really struggling with eating carnivore. I had gone 30 days on carnivore only and 2 weeks on the keto intermittent fasting, and I had had to run for 3 to 4 weeks. I was really low in energy. I was shaky. I was feeling discouraged, and that was really hard on me. I also had experienced a 28-pound weight loss that I was really excited about. I had also experienced the ability to get off all my blood pressure medications, which was super cool. And that was kind of it. My waist had shrunk. My waist had gone down 7 inches. And that's where I was last time I talked to you. So here's the update. I no longer have the runs and I am feeling more energy, and I'm really excited about that. The energy kicked in last weekend. I spent 4 days doing a whole lot of activities, 4 full days, and I was able to manage. Now the 5th day I did have to rest, but the 4 days I was able to manage. And the reason I had to rest on the 5th day was because I did not drink enough water on those 4 days, and I got dehydrated, which caused my blood pressure to go up. So lesson learned, don't forget your water bottles and keep drinking. All right, so do you want to know what I did to regain my health? Last time I was talking about it could be oxalate dumping. It could be my microbiome is not used to it. It could be all of the above. I wondered if I could have the alpha-gal disease that you react to mammals. No, I don't believe that I do. I have not reacted lately. So that's very good news. And I just kind of wondered how long it was going to take to get through this phase. Last time I was telling you all the extra vitamins I was taking. The very next day, I decided to drop the vitamins. Why? Thought the vitamins were helping you. Well, when you have too many vitamins going through your system, and you're trying to build microbiome, and you're trying to deal with toxic stuff, and your liver and your kidneys are probably a bit compromised because they're still fatty and they're your basic detox systems in your body, sometimes it's a good idea just to lay off everything and let your body work on its own. And so that's what I did. I took all the vitamins out, everything. The other thing I did was I was taking 2 doses of this a day. That's very high in magnesium and potassium. Well, magnesium will cause you to go to the bathroom and get the runs, and so will potassium, in addition to giving you stomach cramps, which are some of the symptoms I had. So I decided that this was not being my friend right now, and while I was learning to deal with the extra fats, I needed to just take that out of my system. I didn't want to go completely without electrolytes, so I went back to the element and I took the plain because I didn't want to get any stevia in my system. However, I don't really like the plain because I can taste the salt and then I don't drink enough and then I get dehydrated. So now I put a teeny bit of this in with this, so I'm not getting a whole lot of the stevia in there, just a teeny bit, and most of the electrolytes, and I'm able to drink a lot more water, and that makes a huge difference for me. Because I took everything out, I even took out my iodine. Iodine, it'll help your thyroid, but that also will cause a detox effect. And I thought, since I'm detoxing so much anyway, why double detox or triple detox or quadruple detox? So I stopped that too. Now, when the run stopped, I gave it a few days, and now I have added just a half a scoop of this in a day because I like getting that magnesium and potassium. And I've also added my vitamin B complex drops. They're drops, so I take a dropper full. And I've added my vitamin D K2 drops back in, because if you have an autoimmune disease, you're body probably really needs that vitamin D to fight it. So I have been adding those things in, but nothing else. The iodine has not come back in. Nothing else is going to come in for a little while until I know that my gut is completely healed, completely fat adapted, and used to this new way of eating. In addition, I started with a 20-hour fasting window and a 4-hour feeding window. I did that because when I first started this, I was just going to intermittent fast. I wasn't going to change my diet. I thought my diet was perfect. It was what they tell you to eat. So I had lots of fruits and vegetables and some whole grains. And so I thought that was a perfect diet. I would just squeeze it into a smaller window to lose weight and to get the effects of autophagy. Well, when I started keto, I kept that going. I thought, well, two things are better than one. And when I started carnivore, I still kept that going, which meant that I had about one meal a day. However, maybe two. That's really hard for someone who has been starving themselves and under eating for so many years to get all of their calories. And I was trying at that point to get about 1,400. Now I'm trying to get 1,700 in. To get all those calories in, I couldn't do it in that 4-hour window because I just couldn't eat enough. I was too satiated. I was too full. I was not getting my calories in. In addition, I'm trying to get about 135 grams of protein in there. That's 1 gram for every pound that I want to weigh. However, at the very least, I should have over 100 grams of protein, and I haven't been able to even get that. Some days I had 60 or 70 grams of protein. Very, very low. No wonder I had no energy. I have still been under eating. So the only way to get my energy up was to extend my feeding window, which meant so that I could get more food in there, more protein. And so that's what I did. I thought, it's stressing my body to fast this long, especially if I didn't get my protein requirements the day or two before. Then I was really hungry and I was white knuckling it to get to that fasting point. Decided that was absolutely ridiculous. Let's be a little easier on my body and just eat when I'm starving. So I still get, at the minimum, 14 hours of fasting in for the most part, or 16 hours of intermittent fasting in. So my feeding window is still 8 hours. Some days I do have only a 4-hour feeding window, but that's because I'm not hungry and I don't need to eat more. But I am varying it a lot so that I have more of those 16-hour fasts with the 8-hour feeding windows in, just so I can make sure I get enough to eat. Now, yesterday I had scallops. I had a whole pound of scallops with a lot of butter and salt. And then I had 2 large burgers that were about 2/3 of a pound. That's all I had. Except for another experiment I'll tell you about later. That was only 81 grams of protein. That is not enough. At 3 in the morning, I woke up, I was starving. I was hangry. My blood sugar obviously dropped too low in my sleep. My cortisol went up, my adrenaline, it woke me up. I couldn't go back to sleep. That is not a place I want to be. So I have to get enough food into that feeding window. If I don't, there are going to be consequences. There could be consequences like hair loss. God forbid, I don't have that much to start with. And also my body will have a set point down too low, and then it's going to be really hard to raise it up. I think already I'm trying to work on raising it up. All right, let's talk about weight. So last time I was on, I said I had lost an additional 7 pounds in a week, and I couldn't believe, that just seemed like so crazy. And I couldn't really notice it on my clothing. Well, the next day I stepped on the scale and it said I gained 4 pounds. And I was panicked. And the day after that, I stepped on the scale and it said I gained another 4 pounds, now bringing me up 8 pounds, bringing me only to a 20-pound weight loss. And I thought, okay, so what's going on? Am I holding water? And am I building muscle? Well, I don't think I've built muscle that quickly. Or was the scale wrong? So the other day, my daughter stepped on the scale and she had lost a few extra pounds, and then she stepped off and she stepped right back on again, and then she gained every pound that she had lost, and she was right back up to the beginning. And So we changed the batteries on the scale. It still didn't help. It was a cheap scale she bought. So I did order another scale the other day. That'll be here next week. I ordered an Oxaline. They had good reviews, and they also will get your BMI, your bone density, your amount of fat on there. It's going to register a whole bunch of things on there. So I did upgrade my scale. So right now I have no idea what I weigh. I'm actually scared to step on the scale. I'm scared that the scale will put me all the way to the top again. Okay, now let's talk about the tape measure. Well, that seems to be a more accurate way to measure your progress. However, you can bloat your stomach out with some of the supplements you're taking or the way your body's responding to the food. So then if I'm taking my waist measurement and I'm bloated, then it's all over the place too. I've noticed like a 2-inch difference in my waist measurement throughout the day, depending on how bloated I get from the food I'm eating, since my body is still trying to adapt to the microbiome and adapt to this new diet. So that's not really completely accurate either. At my thinnest, and I want to go with my thinnest because I think, it's pretty hard. It's easy to bloat out, but it's pretty hard you're not going to bloat in, right? So I've lost 8.5 inches off of my waist, which is good, right? It's good. I have about 3.5 inches to lose off my waist yet to get it to that healthy metabolic place. Now, what is that healthy metabolic place? You take your height, I'm 5'8", and you take the inches of what that is and you divide that in half, and that is what your waist circumference should be. So for me, it should be 34 because I'm 68 inches tall. There you go. So that's how I figured that out. So I'm probably going the right way. Although after I stepped on the scale, I'm pretty sure that I was just porking out and I can't notice any difference on my clothing. And I've just been feeling big. And when I look in the mirror, I just see big. So the only thing that's helped me is I've had a few people take pictures of me lately, and I look thinner on the pictures. So in my head, the me I see is not the me I'm seeing in the pictures. So I am anxious actually to step on a real scale that is more accurate and hope to see the difference. I am noticing my shoulders are getting smaller, like if that's even possible. They're getting smaller. My face is getting thinner. I've noticed this. It was thinning down, but now it's a little more long, like it was wider and now it looks a little more long. So I'm definitely losing weight. I've lost some on my legs. I feel it. I have some lipedema on there and it's not hurting as bad. I haven't noticed all of the cottage cheese look. That went away for the most part. When I look at it, it's still there. If I stand up, it's all there. But I am losing weight. And I think what's happening is, you know how you get to a certain point, first you start and you lose it, maybe at your waist, that visceral fat goes really fast and you get more of an hourglass figure. And then you just start to shave it off all the way through your body. And that's when you think you're not losing weight and you think your body isn't changing, because it is not changing a whole lot. Now, I've watched a couple of YouTubers that were like, they went out and bought new outfits at the thrift store every month because they kept dropping sizes. I am not having that experience. I'm really not dropping sizes. I ordered a couple dresses that were large instead of extra large, and this is a little tight on the, chest area. So, yeah, I'm not getting that whole, wow, I'm just whooshing through my weight loss and losing a lot of weight. It does seem to be going slower, and hopefully it hasn't stalled, because I don't know, because I haven't stepped on a scale. So those are all the things that are going on with me. However, I have to say, through the birthdays and through the parties and everything else, I maintained my program. And I want to tell you about my daughter. She has started this just 2 weeks ago, and she maintained it through her birthday. She even said on her birthday, she went past a candy store and she said, "Sugar smells make me sick." So I was really proud of her. and she's doing great on it. She is also losing inches and losing weight. So we're doing it together, the two of us, and I'm super excited about that. As soon as we figure out her schedule and we both have energy, we're both going to go to the gym and work out. We're going to have a little workout buddy and a little accountability buddy, and that is super exciting because I didn't think that would happen. How is my husband doing on this? A little less well. He was the one who went to the grocery store and would pick up things for supper, and it was always a meat and vegetables and maybe a potato or something, and he would cook it and we would all eat together. Now, we ate in front of the TV, so we didn't sit around the table and eat. Usually by the end of the day, we're just all like peopled out, so we just wanted to sit there and watch something. I never thought I'd be one of those families, but I am. So the three of us would sit there, and now Cammie and I are taking care of our own food for the most part, and he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't want to eat his food in front of us because he feels like we'll be tempted. He still wants to eat the standard diet. He loves his fruits and vegetables and still believes that they are much healthier for you. So he has been kind of a little bit, he was very resistant to me doing this. He didn't stop me, of course, but he wasn't supportive, and he wasn't happy, and he was kind of like, this isn't good for you. And whenever I'd have like a pain or an ache, he'd be like, see, it's not good for you, you know. So yeah, that's been a little challenging, but I'm glad now I have an accountability buddy. Okay, so let's talk about cheats. We haven't cheated at all, but the other day Cammie said, I really want ice cream. That's the thing I miss the most, and you guys know that that's the thing that I miss the most. So I went onto Amazon and bought myself a cheap little ice cream maker. It came yesterday. I put it right in the freezer without reading the directions. Went out and bought heavy cream, a pinch of salt, and 4 raw egg yolks. Mixed it all together, threw it in there, and expected to have this amazing carnivore ice cream in just 45 minutes. Well, 45 minutes came and went, an hour came and went. It was like a very, very soupy milkshake. And so I put the canister in the freezer for about an hour, took it out, tried to mix it again, just went back to soup. Put the canister back in the freezer, took it out after another hour. It was time for bed. And I had already clocked the fat into my FitnessPal because I had planned on eating it. And I was looking forward to it, but I wanted to eat it at the mealtime, and it just wasn't ready. So Cammie said, well, let's try it. So I skimmed the little bit that was frozen off of the canister. It came out to about a half a scoop. I cut the half a scoop in half, gave us both a half a scoop of ice cream. We had made a little bit of whipped cream for it. We each put a little dab of whipped cream on it and sat down and ate our ice cream. It tasted not bad, but I have to tell you that 1 minute after eating it, all the energy drained out of my body. I was just no energy whatsoever. What that means is high food sensitivity to dairy, which I knew. It's not as bad for cheese, but I never drink milk, and it's very bad for whipped cream. And I just tanked. So bad that I just went to bed. That's how bad it was. I did not feel good. I started to feel like I was going to get sick. I felt horrible. Cammie didn't have as bad a feeling as I did. Now, we knew this about me and dairy, but right now I cannot even do homemade ice cream. It's just not going to work for me. All night I didn't sleep well. And I've had a very runny nose, a lot of histamine issues coming on because I had that teeny bit of heavy cream. So as an elimination diet, this works really well because it really told me, and I knew it already. But I thought, you never know. I'll try it. Well, I tried it, and it told me right away, hey, this is not good for you for so many reasons. You can't eat this. So I am not having a problem with seafood and with red meat. I have no problem with lamb. So I'm kind of sticking to those things, the red meat and the seafood. that's going to be what I'm eating, the mammal and the seafood, and adding butter and trying to get my fat in there. And when will I start those supplements again? I don't know. I will do them again, but I think I have to get into more healing before that happens and have my body really get into this rhythm. I think that I did it an injustice by going too fast. It's kind of like I put the fire hose on and all of the detox came out at once and my system couldn't handle it. So I've turned it down. Now my system is handling the detox as my liver, as my kidneys get a little cleaner. They're going to handle it a little better and things are moving forward. So am I happy I'm doing the carnivore diet? Yes, because the energy I had in the last 4 days was way better than anything I've had for the last 2 years, at least, maybe the last 4 years. It's not the Energizer Bunny energy. It's not that I'm going to run 25 miles energy, but it is better than I was. I feel stronger than I did. I feel healthier than I did. And I think that in time, I'm just going to feel healthier and healthier. We are only at the 6-week period of carnivore. We were only at the 2-month period of the whole ketosis thing. So what are my thoughts going forward? One of the things I really want to dial in is my blood sugar. I think that that's going to be something that is going to have to heal over the next 6 months as my fatty liver heals. I think that because I was in a pre-diabetic, if not full type 2 diabetic state before I started, that might take a little more time than this 2 months that I've done. Now I've seen my blood glucose go down, but I do think there's a sugar issue going on in the middle of the night that's waking me up at 3 in the morning. I do think that I'm going down too low into hypoglycemia. I think that, okay, so this is what they say. What they say is that you, as your insulin rises and your blood glucose level rises, you actually get more diabetic, but you feel more normal in that diabetic state. And your blood glucose, when it's in a normal state, feels hypoglycemic. So even though I tested my blood glucose when I felt hypoglycemic and it said 82, which is not really hypoglycemic, I was feeling that way because my blood sugar had gone up so much. So I think that some of those tremors and the shaking that I was experiencing, even though I thought it wasn't hypoglycemia, I think it was. I'm also starting to realize that those times that I went to the hospital with heart palpitations and was dehydrated, I was both dehydrated and low on potassium, but I was undoubtedly hypoglycemic during all those things too. So I was having hypoglycemic episodes with the sweats, with everything that can kind of mimic like you think you're having a heart attack, but it's hypoglycemia. Then that led me to reading a whole other book called Dark Calories. I highly recommend it. I think everyone should put it on their list of 2 reads, by Dr. Kate Shanahan. I think it's so good. It's excellent reading. One thing that I realized in that book, and I don't remember when the aha moment came, but she explained so well all the seed oil stuff and then the other issues with your blood sugar and diabetes and insulin resistance and everything else. She explained it so well that suddenly I realized that all these years, my chronic fatigue syndrome has really been related to a blood sugar adrenal roller coaster that Dr. Ali in New Jersey told me about years ago and treated me for. Now, we weren't able to get completely to the bottom of it when I went to him and I ran out of money. It was like $60,000 out of pocket. I was putting it all on charge cards and I was still sick. But I do believe that this has all been directly connected with my blood sugar and my adrenal gland, and everything has all been connected. So I think that this blood sugar thing has been dogging me for a long time. in addition, my other proof to this, all the puzzle pieces are coming together now. My other proof of this is that a couple years ago, I did a whole bunch of genetic testing to find out if I was prone to heart disease. There's all kinds of markers that they can pick up now in genetic testing. And I wanted to make sure that because my dad and my sister both dropped dead of sudden death of heart attacks, that I didn't have something that was known, that they would have to deal with. Now, nothing came back on my heart, except one thing did come back, and it was an inability to process sugar. It didn't clue in at the time. At the time, I was like, oh yeah, because I'm kind of hypoglycemic. And I kind of passed it off. But now I realize the inability to process sugar is basically an insulin-resistant metabolic state. It's a diabetes, and it is a precursor and a cause of heart disease. So it actually came back and told me it is your blood sugar problem that could lead you to heart disease. And not only do you have it, you would have passed it on to your daughters. So, yeah, that's kind of a big one, which tells me that, again, this is something genetic that was kind of a predisposition for me, and it's been a weakness, and it's probably been dogging me all the time with my chronic fatigue syndrome, which means the last 35 years, I have been stuck in this pattern and not able to get through the virus, and then it's caused food sensitivities, and it's become this perfect storm of problems. But I think that was at the core with the initial illness, and also has been at the core with how bad I've felt for all these years. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I wouldn't even know how to solve this, but I've been studying my own body enough to know that some of this definitely is playing into it. Which just brings me back to the other thing, that we all have to be our own detectives, and we all have to study our own body. And everything that I'm doing might not be right for you. Some of you have been doing fine on Weight Watchers. Some of you are doing keto. Some of you are doing a ketovore. Some of you are just doing intermittent fasting. Some of you are mixing these things together. We're all playing with where our bodies are. I was just watching someone today who was strict carnivore and had to add a little bit of carbs in before bedtime so they wouldn't wake up at 3 in the morning. So they added like a little bit of organic carrots in there. I'm not going to be such a purist that I have to stick with one thing. Right now, I'm doing this as a perfect elimination diet, figuring out what I can add in, what I can't add in. The other thing I want is to get to a level of health so that I have a stable level of health before I start adding things back in. The other thing I want to get to is I need to get to a better weight loss. I am only at maybe 30 pounds, maybe only 20 pounds, maybe more. I don't have a clue. But I want to get close to at least 80 pounds weight loss before I start milking with a few things, or maybe down to a whole 100-pound weight loss. So there's just a lot that has to go on here, and it's all a big mystery. So, pep talk. Keep going, keep going. I mean, even in the midst of feeling like I'm not losing weight, maybe I am losing weight. I could have sabotaged, and all I could think about every time someone ate ice cream was, that's 5 minutes in their mouth, and then after that you're going to feel crappy, you're going to feel guilty, it's going to throw you off, it's going to knock you out of ketosis, it's going to set you back, you would have gotten off the exit too soon, and it's going to be harder to get back on. And so I have been very disciplined, and you guys can too. But if you choose to break whatever you're doing, you can also choose to get on again. You have the power. This is your plan, and you have to do it according to your body, because every single body is different. What I tell you I'm going to do today may not be what I do tomorrow. I started out with a 20-hour fast. I'm easing up on that. I started with more vitamins. I've eased up on the vitamins. I started out wanting to eat all my fruits and vegetables. Now I'm eating carnivore. In 2 months' time, I've made so many changes and adjustments because we are a science experiment. And I was never good at science, and I hated science, but it is kind of fascinating to find out what works with your body and what doesn't work with your body. So guys, I love you. Just keep it going, and I'll talk to you soon.